Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for dialing in. I'm Simon Taberry. I'm an infectious diseases doctor and reader at Queen Mary University of London. And I'm here to present you the TB certificate course, which is a postgraduate certificate course, which we started just before COVID. Actually, we were delivering the first year when COVID hit. And then we had a small hiatus for a few years, and we're relaunching the course again. So I will share my screen and I will tell you a little bit more about the course. And then I hope you will also share your screens if you wish, and we can have a discussion. You can ask me any questions you may have about the course, about TB, and tell you a little bit more. All right. So let me just share that screen and entire screen share. And so you should be able to see my screen now, I believe. I can't see you and I can't see any hands raised. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to jump in, just talk, because I can't see you. All right, so this is the postgraduate certificate course in TB. It's the only one of its kind at the moment. So it's an online distance learning course, which gives a postgraduate certificate at the end of it. And we did this with Queen Mary University of London. So it's a large Russell Group university in the UK. And the Blizzard Institute, there's an actual building for this online distance course. It's a large biomedical research facility with lots of faculty, scientists, clinicians doing clinical trials. And it's particularly strong in medicine with lots of specializations in different areas of medicine, particularly neurology, gynecology, but also TB. And one particular specialization of the Blizzard Institute is the postgraduate teaching, and we started offering online teaching courses. So TB. So what's important about tuberculosis? So tuberculosis, until COVID, was the main infectious diseases killer in the world, and it's always been around within the top 10. It's currently the 13th cause of mortality worldwide, and it continues to kill. So it's been with civilization, with humanity for thousands of years, and it's one of the major killers of man. Despite the era of antimicrobials, despite a vaccine, BCG vaccine, it continues to cause havoc. It infects a quarter of humanity, 1/4 of the world, and it causes about 10 million cases a year of TB disease. And unfortunately, 1.5 million people still die from tuberculosis despite there being a cure which is available. So it's unacceptable, and it's a big problem. And the problem, unfortunately, is also getting worse. Through drug resistance, antimicrobial resistance, TB is a growing threat. And we're seeing more and more drug-resistant TB cases, currently 500,000 a year, but it's estimated that there will be many more cases over the coming decades. And as we can see with the conflict in Ukraine, Russia, these are countries with antimicrobial resistance, with a lot of MDR, multi-drug resistant TB, and we're seeing increases of multi-drug resistant TB in those countries and the countries accepting refugees. So it's a big problem, and we're in 2022, and we are unfortunately still talking about tuberculosis. And COVID has just worsened the matters further. We were hoping to consider elimination of TB by 2030, but COVID has delayed any possibility of elimination by at least 10 years, if not more. So why do we want to do a postgraduate certificate in tuberculosis? So currently, if you want to get a specialization, a university specialization in TB, it's not possible. So you have to do a respiratory course, or you may have a module of TB, but that's about it. So if you want to get a university degree, postgraduate certificate tuberculosis, this is the course. And obviously it's still relevant because it's one of the main infectious diseases killers. It's a big problem with antimicrobial resistance. It's obviously a continued issue, and currently we need to do something about it. And so what we're hoping to do was raise the bar, raise the standard of science and in TB through this course, give people the possibility to get fantastic teaching lectures from expert faculty from all over the world, and really bring that into this course and give the students of this course every possible opportunity to learn as much as possible against TB to make a difference. So that's what we want to do. This course, this online course, allows us to give the opportunity to students to be flexible, to do this on within their own time, and allow people from all over the world to participate within this course. So it's directed towards doctors, it could be registrars in respiratory, infectious diseases, microbiology, TB nurses, and public health workers, and obviously who want to further their knowledge in TB. And the idea is that you get the opportunity to work, to study from some of the world experts, and potentially, further your career, further your research interests as well. So this is a one-year degree. However, the teaching is done between October to April. So it's just 2 semesters and you get 60 credits. This is basically a third of a master's course. And because it is a university course with credits, it can work its way towards an MSc or other degrees. You get the PGCert post-nominal, and the entry requirements are medical degree in a biomedical, pharmaceutical, or public health subject, or a nursing degree or work experience in TB. So, for example, if you're a TB nurse with 5 years of experience, that's also sufficient. Then we have these 4 modules. So we have 2 modules in each semester. In the first semester, from the end of September, we give an introduction to tuberculosis. And there's a second module that develops more knowledge around TB and certain groups, so people living with HIV. And the second semester is focused on multi-drug resistant TB and public health. How does it work? So it works by us giving you access to Queen Mary Plus, which is our online environment, where you can access all the lectures, the video lectures, at any time you want or any time you can. So after work, ideally on your free time. And the idea is that we give you each week a number of lectures, which you can download, you can watch in your own time. You'll generally get 3 to 6 lectures a week. The lectures are anything from 10 minutes to 40, 50 minutes long. We've tried to keep them as short as possible, and we have a book, a PDF, which follows the course outline as well, so you can read, you can watch the lectures, and we have a repository with interesting articles to read. On a weekly basis, we'll have a live online tutorial, which will be with me and Dominic Zenner, my other co-chair. And Dominic is an epidemiologist. I'm an infectious disease doctor, and we will invite the lecturers of that week to dial in, and you can ask some questions, and they may also briefly summarize some of the content that they delivered that week. And then that's the idea, is that fosters your reading, helps you to read more, and we can interact as well through that weekly tutorial. If you miss it, it's recorded, and so you can also see the recording of the online tutorial. So this is more or less how it looks like. You'll have a calendar with different webinars, webinar weeks. And so, for example, the first week, webinar 1 week, has got 5 lectures. And so just brief introduction from me, and then we will go through history of TB, what TB is, epidemiology of tuberculosis. So just to give you an idea of some of the lecturers, Mario Avigliani was the ex-WHO director for TB, and he's a professor of medicine and tuberculosis. He's extremely knowledgeable, obviously, and he's the person to talk about epidemiology of tuberculosis. Jose Caminero is a Spanish physician, and he's considered to be one of the best leading TB physicians around, and he's a real expert on the treatment of TB. Robert Lodenkemper is a TB historian from Germany. So just to give you an idea, that's a kind of taste of the lectures we have are generally experts within the field. Delia Galetti is an immunologist from Rome, and she's a very, very good immunologist, and she can summarize and teach everyone about immunology, which is great. And then we have Giovanni Battista Migliori, to talk about infection control, and so forth. So we have fantastic lecturers. Mentorship as well. So we also want to make this work for you. So it's important that there's bi-directional communication, that we're not only just talking to you all the time, but you can ask us questions. So the idea is you will have that opportunity, you have that possibility if you want, and we are there for you. So we're happy to get questions. We're happy to be emailed. We're happy to sometimes have calls, and we can discuss certain concepts or some lectures in greater depth if needed. And the idea is that there's mentorship. Okay, so what we want to do is build links and build those links with you and within your future endeavors within TB as well. Assessments, there are 2 examination periods, and these are written MCQs, so computer based, as you can see here on the right, and you can click the multiple choice questions, and those are done in January for module 1 and 2, and in May for modules 3 and 4. And these are time restricted tests, and they're generally multiple choice questions, but there are a limited number of also short answered questions, and those are for the 3 modules. Whereas for module 4, there is a written assessment for public health. And that's it from me, and I'm gonna close this and get any questions so I can see you. So stop sharing. There you go. Hello everyone. Hi. So if you've got any questions, you want to know more about certain aspects about the course, then fire away. And yes, if you don't have audio, please feel free to type in the chat, and I'll be happy to take any questions on the chat as well. No questions? Okay.
Sorry, I came in at the end. I just have a question about the tutorials. What sort of time of the day will they be usually? I live in Australia, so it's sort of nearly 1 o'clock in the morning here. So it's quite late.
Yeah, so absolutely. So what we can do is we've been talking about it being flexible so that everyone has the opportunity to have some time for the tutorials. I think for Australia, we've got a very small window of opportunity. So I think that's around midday, or it has to be in the morning. So we can sometimes move the times around for the tutorials to allow for everybody to have that opportunity. But it's going to be one of those things that we'll never be able to make everyone happy because of the way the course is made. So the idea is that we'll have students from many other areas of the world. The moment we have someone in America, someone in Australia, then it becomes very difficult indeed. But one possible solution that we've thought of is to change the times around. so that we don't have a set time for the online tutorials, but we give everyone the opportunity to dial in and have a live experience. Again, it will be recorded, so which is not as fun, but you will get some more information from the lecturers, and you also see questions from who's attended. But yes, we'll try and cater for it sometimes.
Sounds good. I know it's not always going to be possible. The other question I had, I thought when I looked at the course, I thought there was an elective as well, a research. Like I thought there was a choice of doing a research elective. Is that not something that's offered?
So we decided to simplify it this time around. So it's not offered, but we are very research intensive as a group of lecturers. So if there is research that you're doing, you want to do your own project, then we can help you with that. That is possible. What we will have is all the research lectures will be in the repository. So the lectures from researchers, for example, Professor Nunn at UCL doing studies, and his studies, you'll have that lecture and you can watch it in your own time. It might not be examined, so we might not be asking you questions on it, but if you are interested in research, you will find lots of things within the repository around research. And obviously, if you've got any research questions, we're more than happy to help. If you want to do your own research protocol, we can also do that as well. We can help you with a research protocol that you want to do.
Okay, great. Sorry, and I have one more question then. On the QMAL website, is there anything on there yet? I've tried to have a look, but I can't really get into it. But I haven't paid my fees yet. I wondered if that was why.
Yes, exactly. So you've answered the question. So you will have access to QM Plus when you're a student of Queen Mary. And so when you're a student, then you get access to QM Plus and you have access to all the lectures. You have access to the book and you have access to the publication repository. So you'll have access to all of those things, as well as the portal where you will join in for the tutorial webinars as well. So there's a link which will take you into the room and so forth.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I did have a question as well regarding the application form. I was told the 9th of September is the deadline for application form and fees. Is that the case? I'm still waiting for my employer to get back to me about the payment. That's all. The application form is pretty much done, but I'm waiting for the fee and the agreement from my employer.
Okay. Yes, the 9th of September is the deadline date that's on the QMUL website.
Right.
It's learning student.
Lovely. Well, I'll chase them next week.
Yeah.
And Becky, is there any possibility of an extension this year or anything like that?
Possibly. If we know your application's coming in, I could ask. Did you email me, Sophie? Have we spoken by email? If we
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If we just
it's just that I'm on annual leave until Monday.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm going to be chasing it up. I know it's been sent to the training and development team, so hopefully, but they do say it can take them up to 2 weeks. So I'm going to chase up when I get back on Monday, but just in case it's a bit short, I suppose if I contact you, Becky, and see where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you.
Any other questions about the course or KM Plus, about tuberculosis, about the certificate? Nope. Okay, super. So what I'll do is I'll put my email in the chat, and if anyone has got any questions, feel free to email me. I'm generally quite responsive. That's my email, so feel free to email me with any questions. And also, I believe, Becky, if you can put in the chat your email, in case anyone has any course-related queries. Super. And that's Becky, and she'll answer as well. Super. So any last questions or requests? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining, and hope to see you very, very soon. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Move on.